At a new OECD report, they've revealed that lockdowns and school closures will have such a lasting impact on our children that they're going to stunt growth for decades and could wipe a total of £700 billion off the global economy. Well, Stephen James joins us now. He's an award-winning teacher and co-founder of the Invicta National Academy. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Apologies that time is so short, Stephen. Let's get straight to it. This report. It basically says, look, fall in basic reading and writing skills, the mental health, the physical health, all of the damage that has been done, those school closures, lockdowns, it's going to have a lasting impact. It didn't end in 2022.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I also don't think we needed a report from the OECD to tell us this either. You and I both know, and we've talked about this before, the lasting impact that's going to happen with children, but also how resilient children are as well, and how they're going to bounce back. And what they're looking at is productivity and, thinking about us as kind of almost robots, factory workers. And, I think children and people are far much more than the sum of those parts. And we need to think about redefining, how we're measuring success in a very different way, because yes, English, maths, reading, writing, and arithmetic and science, all those things are important. But it's also about, say again?
They're not the only thing, as you say.
No, they're absolutely not. And making a well-rounded, culturally aware citizen who takes pride in our nation and wants to be part of our country is exactly the role of education.
But also kids who can interact, kids who know how can read, signals and facial expressions and out and about and able to, make those lasting relationships, which are the sort of the bedrock of our civilization, of our society. They're losing a load of those skills. And yet so much focus is always on GDP per capita, and this idea that kids are totally resilient. We all know people who've got kids who've now got, anxiety, panic disorders, self-harm, anorexia. Children, 11-year-olds got fatter in lockdown. We know because they did a load of weighing. 5-year-olds got fatter in lockdown. 5-year-olds have bounced back. The 11-year-olds haven't. They're still fatter. That's a health problem they're going to have forever.
Yeah, and I also don't think it's just young people who've got these problems as well. There are a lot of adults who've got health problems too, and that's because they're not looking after themselves. And but it also comes to this piece as well: is why is there so much pressure on children? And actually, learning is a lifelong process. And I know so many people who have maybe gone to university at a later time, or done an apprenticeship, or really worked their way from the bottom of a company up to the top through experience. And actually, these are the things that we need to kind of be celebrating too. Yeah. These entrepreneurs that are actually creating wealth in our country. Yeah. And these jobs that are going to be existing, that children are going to be applying for, are going to be creating themselves, don't even exist at the moment. So why are we worried about what's going to be happening in the next 30 years? Because I've got utter faith in young people that they will look after us when we're
and we need to worry about what's happening to them now. Stephen James, lovely to talk to you. I'm so sorry our time was so short, but let me bring in Tom Slater. Again, it's worth focusing on the economy. A poorer country actually has poorer outcomes in terms of health, education, life prospects, longevity of life. But actually, it does kind of miss the point of actually taking away people's freedoms and ability to go and hug your grandma. These are lifelong impacts.
Absolutely, especially when you talk about education. I mean, there's constant concern about the amount of absences in schools.
Yeah, day off to go to Disneyland. Crisis. But, 6 months off, not a problem.
Absolutely fine, just get them on a laptop. It's ridiculous, but it's all coming home to roost now. The most shocking thing, I think, is the fact that it's not just that particular generation who are going through school at that time who have lost all of those hours and school time, as dreadful as that is. Culturally, it's made parents think that it's not as important to send their kids to school.
And we're seeing that absolutely is a huge danger, isn't it?